Welcome to Networking with Nathaniel. I'm playing around with the sounds here in StreamYard. I'm having a good time with it. This is a podcast where I get to talk with movers and shakers in their industries, people that are just on a growth trajectory, the kind of people that we like to be around, right? You surround yourself with like-minded people in that growth mindset. You are destined for growth. So if that's you, if you're one of those people that are just looking to grow, you've come to the right place. Networking with Nathaniel is filled with nuggets and gems to just help you on your journey. I am Nathaniel Hovsepian. I am a health and wellness coach for men. I am a real estate investor, but more importantly, I am a husband and I am a father to three little amazing humans. I have helped people transform their health and wellness. I have done millions of dollars in real estate deals, but this show is not about me. It's about those guests that I mentioned that come on and share their struggles, their successes, that what's been working, what hasn't been working, and how you can level up in your life and in your business. Before I introduce our guest today, if this is your first time here, welcome. Hang out for a little bit. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, subscribe to the channel so you can see all the other guests that we're going to have on here with Networking with Nathaniel and all the health and wellness content that is coming your way. Please like the video so we can reach more people. My guest today is a police officer of 8 years. He has been competitive bodybuilding for the past 3. And his words, he was a former, I'm gonna marine it up here, former fat body. That might irk some people. More importantly, though, he is a husband and a father himself of a 3-year-old little girl. The little girls being a dad. We'll talk about that. I welcome to the show today another member of the ECA community, the greatest fitness coaching community on the planet, Adam Cook. I appreciate you for being here. How did you say it? That was not right.
I'm happy to be here, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I as I've made this pivot from being very heavy in real estate into the fitness coaching, and I've coached people my entire life. It's just now that I'm making a business out of it. I've been really getting value out of the connections that I'm making inside and outside of ECA. So just kind of tell us a little bit of your story. I Marine Corpsed it up a little bit and used the term fat body. I forget exactly how you put it before we started recording here, but just give us a little intro, a little better than I did.
Absolutely. So I got married young. I got married, my first marriage at 22, and kind of quickly fell into a depression and packed on 80 pounds in the space of a year. And as you can imagine, it was all fat.
Yeah.
Topped out at 250 pounds, probably 35-40% body fat, and the huge double chin going on. I could not walk a quarter mile without being out of breath. Wow. I couldn't bend over to tie my shoes. I had to sit down to tie my shoes. So really impacted mobility. And I struggled with weight for the majority of my 20s, and something clicked in my early 30s where I was like, enough is enough. I lost 60 pounds within 10 months, and I was just able to keep it off. And then fitness just became integral, really, in my life.
Yeah. You said something click. Like, was it a moment? Was it something you heard?
Honestly, it was just, it's going to sound cliche, but looking in the mirror and not liking what I saw. I think I just got to a point where I was so sick of the excuses that I'd been feeding myself. And I knew it wasn't healthy, and I wanted to break free from it. And I did.
And you mentioned you've been a police officer for 8 years. Is this transformation, is that happening as you're a police officer?
It did. I actually entered the police academy. So funny enough, I was supposed to be in an academy class prior to the one that I had joined. But for one reason or another, I got pushed back to the following class. And something about that, I'd been trying to get ready physically, because the police academy, you know, there's physical requirements, physical agility tests that you have to pass. And I actually entered the police academy at 240 pounds, really overweight, and it complicated things to say the least. I was able to lose a decent amount of weight. I think when I exited the police academy, I was somewhere around 210.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but kind of fell into the pattern that a lot of police officers do. A lot of fast food, you know, energy drinks, just not really sustainable.
Yeah.
So actually, before I really knew much about fitness or kind of the philosophies that I have now, like surrounding nutrition, I'd heard that intermittent fasting worked. So I actually initially lost all of my weight by doing 16-8 intermittent fasting, still eating fast food, but limiting it strictly to 2,000 calories a day.
Okay.
While also working out and running a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting that intermittent fasting is a tool in the tool belt. It's not like a lifestyle. And a lot of people, myself included, I did it for, I don't know, 6 years or so. And my thought was at the time, I was like, well, from an evolutionary standpoint, you know, as cavemen and hunters, we would probably not eat for, you know, 24, 36 hours, and we'd hunt something and we'd just fill up. It's not the best metabolically though. And in our day and age where we have access to high quality foods, like, let's treat ourselves the best we can. That's why we live 80 years now instead of 35. So you mentioned the intermittent fasting in the police academy. Is that just all on you to lose that weight, or is there things in the academy that they're doing to help you out? Because I think from the Marine Corps, which, hey, we're gonna have a little Marine Corps thing here, that when somebody enters boot camp and they're overweight, they call them half rations. Like, they just cut their food down. Again, not necessarily the best way to go about it, but it does work for the 3 months that you're in boot camp.
So for us, they did try to structure the academy to be somewhat paramilitary. They would smoke us a lot. So it was a lot of, anytime anyone would mess up, okay, everyone out on the line, and it's push-ups until you can't. So it was a lot of that, a lot of running. Yeah, a lot of bear crawls up and down the field. In sweltering August Houston weather. So
so it's similar, I guess. Yeah,
the weight came off fairly easily. You know, your body doesn't want to be 240 pounds when you're having a bear crawl, you know, down the length of the field.
Yeah. I would imagine that you're not visibly looking the best, having lost 30 pounds that quickly, though. I kind of remember seeing some people at the end of boot camp, and the way I thought of it is, you look like an emaciated cow almost. Like, you just kind of didn't have. Is that tracking at all?
So I think I was so far above where I needed to be. I think I probably wouldn't have looked like that until really like 170, 180 pounds.
Oh, still
at 6 foot. Yeah. I had plenty of excess, plenty of cushion.
Your words on my nose.
It's funny to laugh about it now because I'm so far removed from it. It's like,
well, and we just about it lightly because you've gone through that transformation. If there's anybody out there listening and that think that we're like just joking about that, that's not the intent. It's when you've made this journey, you can look back and kind of say, man, what was I doing? You know, at the time, I look back on some of the things that I do just 3 months ago. I'm like, dude, what the heck? What are you thinking here? So we've talked about how just cutting your calories completely isn't necessarily the best long-term decision. What kind of snaps for you and goes, hey, this intermittent fasting isn't sustainable? How do you make this transition into doing things the right way, and what is the right way?
Absolutely. So I found that I hit sort of a plateau. So when you've been intermittent fasting for so long, you're not really limiting food options, right? But within such a small window, it can be very hard to hit the right amount of macronutrients and micronutrients.
Mm.
Especially when you're only eating maybe 1 to 2 meals in a day. So what I found was that I stalled out on the fat loss after a certain point because I had lowered my basal metabolic rate by eating at such reduced calories for so long that someone of my size and activity level could have easily been eating 1,000+ calories more than I was per day. So now what I found is that smaller meals, like every few hours, focusing on hitting macronutrient targets, like plenty of protein, at least like gram per pound of body weight, sufficient carbs to fuel a workout, right? So that you have the glycogen stores in the muscles, having enough fats throughout the day to support healthy hormone levels. These are all the things that to me, it sounds like common knowledge now, but back then I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, and that there's a couple expandable points here that I would love for you to educate even myself on a little bit here. Is you mentioned basal metabolic rate. What is that? And why is that something that we should pay attention to? And then you mentioned macro and micronutrients. And a lot of us have heard, macronutrients, protein, carbs, fats. And I say a lot of us, there's a lot of people out there that don't even know what macronutrients are, but that's them. What did I just say? Proteins, proteins, carbs, and fats. What are micronutrients? Like, why should I be paying attention to those too? And why is that important? And why is that lacking when I'm intermittent fasting? You kind of touched on that already, though, I guess.
No, absolutely. I'd be happy to expound on that. So, first off, basal metabolic rate is the rate at which you burn calories throughout the day just resting. So were you to do nothing, that's the amount of calories every day that's just being burnt. So a typical basal metabolic rate will fall somewhere in the range of like 2,000 calories. So that's why the recommended amount of calories, that the government prints on like nutrition labels is standard American diet would say, everyone should be eating 2,000 calories. Well, obviously we have a huge obesity epidemic. Most people are eating far more than that. We grossly underestimate how much we're eating because we're not factoring in things like liquid calories, toppings, sauces, things that we use to cook with, like oils, butters, things of that nature. So you can actually raise your basal metabolic rate over time through different activities. So thermogenesis in the body is pretty complex. In fact, we could take the whole podcast, honestly.
Yeah, we could talk about that for a couple hours.
We won't do that, but micronutrients. So micronutrients are going to be a lot of the vitamins and minerals that you're supposed to be getting throughout the day. So things like zinc, magnesium. There's recommended daily allotments that we should be hitting that are going to support the systems in our body that help us like metabolically, help with our brain health, help with like different organ functions. So it's just learning about each of those and what you may need, what your requirements are based upon your activity level and what you do throughout the day.
I appreciate that. And I think you did a great job just on a basic on a general level of explaining what these two things are that, you know, us talking through it, we kind of just skim over sometimes these topics, these verbs, if you will. That's not probably the best way to describe it, but you know, and somebody like me, even just 3 or 6 months ago, goes, "What the heck is BMR? You just said BMR, and I don't even know what you're talking about." I might check out a little bit and wait till I can understand the conversation a little bit more. So I appreciate that. Is there something that you're doing? Because I know that you're, well, I think I do. I think I know that you're tracking your macros pretty steadily right now. Are you also like, are you trying to track, hey, this, you know, this raspberry gives me X amount of micronutrients, or is that kind of just like, I eat a well-rounded diet, so I make sure that I'm getting most of my macronutrients, micronutrients, yeah.
So I've plugged my my regular diet into a calculator, and it's shown me that I'm hitting the proper level of micronutrients, so that I won't be deficient in anything. And I think that'll be the case for most people that are focusing on like a whole foods diet. So 90% of my diet is whole foods. So mainly everything's going to consist of like a solid portion of like an animal protein, a simple carb, such as like rice or potatoes, and then maybe a vegetable. I typically opt for like asparagus, but there's plenty that are good. I'm following a set meal plan at the moment. Actually bulking, so intentionally trying to gain weight, quality weight, trying to put on some muscle mass at the moment.
Nice. Yeah,
so,
that's. Oh, go ahead. I could. Yeah.
No, you're good. Trying to do that at like a healthy and steady rate. So typically, bulking, it's just going to be you're eating larger qualities of the quality food that you're already eating, right? So it's not that I'm increasing like huge amounts of food or eating anything really like out of the ordinary. Nothing really overindulgent.
Yeah, and we're similar-ish age here. It sounds like I grew up where bulking just meant, oh, I get to just eat whatever I want. Like, no, that's not exactly true. You get to eat more of the good stuff that's fueling your intentional, intense exercises. I was thinking of it right now while you were talking about the bulking, and you mentioned something about the oils, the oils that we cook with, and that's something that I hadn't thought about until recently. Is like, you pour olive oil in a pan. Well, hey, olive oil has calories connected to it. They're good. Like, olive oil is good for us. It's a good fat. But if you're really paying attention to your calories, and you're not paying attention to how much olive oil you put in a pan, you're missing out on some. You could be missing out. Like, I don't understand why I'm not losing my weight right now. Well, you just had 150 calories of olive oil in that pan there,
which is very easy to do. I mean,
yeah,
right? It's like a tablespoon. So it's olive oils, honestly, like you said, it's a healthy fat, and it is what I would cook with typically, either olive oil or real butter. And but it's the most calorically dense food that there is. It's so much that even when people are talking about like calorie challenges, they're like, okay, what would you do to get 20,000 calories in a day? Well, I'll drink a gallon of olive oil. You're not
going to be satiated at all. You're going to be. That's funny. And so you're in this bulking phase right now. Oh, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned that you're tracking your food through an app. It's, I think, an app you mentioned. Is there a plug here, an affiliate link? No. Is there, what app are you
using? So I actually have a coach, a bodybuilding coach, and he gives me a meal plan, and he actually just delivers it through WhatsApp. So
Okay.
yeah, I receive my meal plan through WhatsApp, and I eat the same thing, the same 6 meals every day, day in and day out.
Yeah.
Just I mean, there's very little variation. Maybe like seasonings and low calorie sauces. But
The
yeah,
little Buffalo Wild, or what is it?
so,
Chick-fil-A
yeah, oh
sauce.
yeah, yeah, play
Yeah,
buffalo
that's
sauce. Yeah.
there's an element of the like the repetitiveness that can be tough for some people, but when you're eating the same 6 things every day, it makes cooking the meals easier, which is taking time out of your day or giving you time, depending on what your perspective is. And so for like busy, for a busy professional, somebody who's a police officer and coaching people and working on themselves and a husband and a father, every time that I can, every little 15-minute window that I can get back is super important. And then also, because I'm eating the same 6 things every day that I know are fueling my body and know are giving me the nutrients that I need, I don't have to think about it. And so it takes that decision fatigue out of the equation. And I know that like when it comes time for lunch, I don't have a choice to make. I mean, you always have a choice to make, but I don't have to think about it. I just go take it out of the fridge, heat it up, whatever you're going to do, instead of going, man, what do I need to do? Well, I only have 30 minutes for my lunch break right now. I guess I'll go get, the fast food around the corner that's cooked in a bunch of seed oils and mostly isn't actually food anyway. So
Mm.
I'll jump off that rant for a little bit. How are you being a coach, being coached, right? And being a police officer, and like I mentioned, being even more importantly, a husband and a father. How the heck are you managing all this?
I've wondered that, and I had
Okay.
an old,
That's what I was expecting. Yeah.
why am I doing all of this again? No,
Yeah.
I had an old associate, actually an old boss, reach out to me. He asked if I was still performing street magic. This is a long time hobby of mine, and I said honestly, I can't even create the time to do any
Yeah.
of that. Like you said,
It would be magic.
juggling the family responsibilities. Obviously, like a husband and father being top priority, and
Yeah.
then full-time work, coaching, and then also pursuing bodybuilding on top of that. It eats up everything. So like you said, being able to save those 15 minutes anywhere that I can. I like that you brought up decision fatigue. It is so nice to not have to wonder, like, okay, where am I going to go eat? Hop in the car. We got to go here. Or, oh, okay, we got to go to the grocery store and get all of these ingredients. No, because I already bought everything and prepped it at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
No, that's huge. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I thought when I started this off, I had just got done with a bodybuilding competition about 2.5 months ago, and the diet was incredibly strict, and the calories were far less than they are now. And again, it was the same thing. It was eating same 6 meals, just much smaller amounts.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, oh, I'm going to want so much variety. I'm going to want, but it's been oddly comforting. Just, I like everything that I eat. I love the meals that I have. So it's not hard. And I still have a cheat meal programmed in once a week. I think today, I usually save it for Fridays, date night with my
Okay.
wife.
Nice.
Yeah. She's been wanting Thai food. She's like, you haven't been picking Thai food for the past few times. I was like, well, usually I'm hungry about an hour or two after eating.
Yeah.
It digests very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Is this a date night is something that we still struggle with a little bit, right? We have an almost 5. Well, I say almost 5. He'll be 5 in February. A very almost 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and
okay.
getting time out is at a very, very premium.
Yes.
So we do a lot of date nights in the house,
Okay.
and they consist of, doing a puzzle together, playing a board game. Sometimes we play a video. Brittany is not a big fan of playing a video games, but sometimes we play a video game together, like something we're actually doing together rather than just sitting in front of the TV and watching Netflix or something. What are date nights look like for you guys?
So here in Houston, there's no shortage of great food
Yeah.
places, and
Yeah.
we're big foodies.
Mm.
So a lot of the times it'll consist of going and trying out a new food spot. Um, they had in the little suburb of Houston that we live close to, Pearland, Texas. They built recently like a little strip business center of like these new restaurants, and most of them are like Asian themed. Um,
Okay.
so they have like a little Asian bakery where we go and we get pastries.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so we'll typically do something like that. And yeah, for date night, I would imagine with 3 children, it can be harder to get that time away from the children. For us, um, we're kind of blessed to have most of her immediate family living
Mm.
around us, so we can
Yeah.
usually drop Sophia off for a couple of hours with them, or um, Saturday mornings she'll usually have like so my daughter's autistic, so she goes
Oh,
to ABA therapy 40 hours a week. So she'll have makeup time on Saturday mornings. So sometimes we'll do like a little Saturday morning day date. So
okay.
yeah.
Wow, that opens up a flood of questions, and uh, with the autism side of thing. Um, but yeah, having the 3 kids is a little bit. We use it as a little bit of an excuse because we could put them to bed and get somebody over to just like, hey, just in case there's any
Sure.
emergency, we need somebody in the house. It's a little bit of an excuse, but it's also like we're homebody. We like being home. We love where we live. We like the house, like all those things. By the time the kids go to bed, it's 7:30. Normally, we're walking into the bedroom by 9 o'clock to go to bed. So it's like we get somebody over here to do this. Like we're out by 8 o'clock. We're tired. We just like it's a little bit of an excuse. Yeah. So we
I can
do a
relate.
lot of yeah. Like let's just do a home date. And then whenever we don't have any, all our parents are on the other side of the country, or
Okay.
all our parents, both of our parents are on this other side of the country. So it's like whenever we go travel to California, it's like you guys get the kids for a little bit. We're gonna go have a date night, like an out of the house date night. No, how's that? Yeah, how's that been? I always thought, not always thought, but I have this thought that when we have a kid with special needs, that be it autism, deaf, blind, it's almost, and I don't know if you're a believer, but like God saw something in you that said, Adam and his wife can handle this, and I need somebody special for my special person here. And again, I don't know if you're a believer, but how has that been for you? And you don't know because you don't have another kid, but like how's juggling that now on your plate?
So I'll admit it was tough to accept. Like mentally, it took me probably some weeks to mentally process it.
Mm,
Um, just because there are some challenges having a child that is not neurotypical.
mm,
Um,
ooh,
so she she would play, she would do parallel play, right? Like so, um, there would be other kids, and she would be playing alongside them, but alone,
mm,
not interacting. And then
yeah,
with us, uh, it was almost as if, well, it was a lot of times when the way that she would communicate was like through like a script, like things that she had memorized. And so it was like you weren't getting the transactional, you weren't getting the conversation with her that you would normally get with
mm,
a 3-year-old. And so
yeah,
that was challenging because you felt like you weren't getting the reciprocation in
yeah,
communication,
mm,
which really I think taught me a lot about patience, but also her going to this ABA therapy. It's been a night and day difference. The tantrums have decreased like 90%. And then she communicates with us. She has conversations with us now. And I think what's cool is it helped me appreciate it more. Like if I had it the whole time, I don't know that I would have noticed how special it is.
Yeah. When did this realization come?
So her diagnosis was actually over the summer
Okay, so
during my competition prep. So it's like, it was kind of like a lot mentally all at once. But so she's been receiving the help for a couple of months now. We figured out insurance to cover all of that, and she's getting the help that she needs, and it's like very professional service. So
really, that's amazing. Yeah, the place that we're in, medically now, and especially when it comes to that stuff where it is neurological. Would you
neurotypical? Yeah,
neurotypical. I haven't heard that before. I like that.
She's neurodivergent, so it's like the way that we look at things, she thinks of it differently. And so like you may have heard that, like, people on the spectrum with autism or Asperger's as well, sometimes they'll have like different parts of the brain like unlocked, and they'll have kind of like special like mental capabilities that, like, my daughter can read. She straight up read. Like she was reading the chip bags on the side of the box yesterday. Doritos, Fritos. It's like
it's exciting for you to see how that aspect plays out, right? Where is she gonna, what are those little abilities, those special abilities that she's gonna have that are gonna keep getting honed? And especially for you being in the place that you are, like mentally, and having the medical, the people that kind of know what they're doing to cultivate this and care for this, like, man, it's an amazing place to be, right?
For sure.
Yeah. What is the what does the next 6 to 12 months look like for you? I know you mentioned you're bulking. Do you have a competition you're looking at as far as the bodybuilding goes?
So at the end of this last one, it was so taxing on my marriage, and then also just the time commitment of it is so extreme that I did shift a lot of the parenting responsibilities onto my wife, which she handled like a champ. She was nothing short of like supportive, which has been incredible. This was the second time that I put her through all of this. The first was a couple years back. And so by the end of it, I was almost sure I wasn't going to compete ever again. But over the past month or so, I've realized that, no, I actually can balance all of this, and we will be in a better spot to do this. I just need to be fair and give her at least a year break before putting the family through all of this again, putting them through the sacrifices that it takes. So I would say earliest that I would compete again would be maybe end of next year, but more likely early 2027.
Like 27, yeah. Well, that gives you a lot of time for you to really hone that in.
Yes.
What is on the coaching side of things? What does that look like? What do you, I guess, kind of where are you at right now? What is the next, like, what's the 2026 goal look like?
Perfect. So I am a new coach. I joined ECA at the same time as starting off a coaching business. Started in mid-July. So
Yep.
we're about 3 months in, and I have a couple of ideal clients already that they're meeting their check-ins on time.
Nice.
I'm seeing them see the improvements in their energy. They're seeing improvements in like their body composition. They're kind of building some of that confidence already. So it's really rewarding to watch because both of them actually knew me when I was very like heavy set. So they're both co-workers of mine, and so that they've seen the whole transformation. And so it was, and one of them even let me know, kind of in an intro that he wrote in our coaching app, that he saw that I made the changes, and he said, you know, if Cook can do it, so can I. So yeah, that was super humbling and super rewarding. So I would say going into 2026, I'm hoping to help even more of my coworkers, but then also expand that client base to people that maybe want to try out competing for the first time, helping them navigate through all the challenges that presents, through the mental side of it, and just kind of like learning the tips and tricks. The mindset is it takes kind of a special kind of crazy.
I can imagine. I've never competed, so I can't speak to that. Is there? Can you tell me a little bit? Like, can you give a peek behind the curtain as far as that mindset goes? Are there, like, what are the big struggles that somebody should be aware of when it comes to prepping for a competition? And like, how long is a competition prep?
So a typical competition prep is going to be somewhere between 16 to 20 weeks.
Okay.
My first one was 18 weeks. My most recent one was 24 weeks. But that's because I got, in the 2 years between my competitions, I got way too fat. And I had to lose 60 pounds all over again, actually, in the course of like 7 months. Wow. So it was extreme. Most competition preps, someone's maybe going to lose around 30, 35 pounds. Peek behind the curtain, mindset, I would say there's going to be a lot of days where there's components where you just do not want to do it. There will be times where you are questioning yourself, like, okay, what is my why? Why am I competing? There's really no monetary incentive. In fact, it's the opposite. Competing is incredibly expensive. If there is even a cash prize, you're not seeing it at the amateur level. It takes years to go pro in bodybuilding, and most of the time, those athletes are going to have to generate their own income through alternate but adjacent forms of income. So like sponsorships, coaching, things of that nature.
Yeah, that's like the for all the things that we do that are difficult, that why comes back. And that's something that I've struggled with until I started coaching for a long time. As a real estate investor, the only why I had was to make money. And like that only got me so far, at least. Like I'm not going to become a millionaire in real estate based off of just wanting to make money. Like, I like my life. I don't need millions of dollars. That's not a strong enough why for me. And so, you know, as a coach, it's like, like you mentioned, seeing the physical changes, the energy changes, the mental changes in the other person, and like seeing them start to win in these other ways. That's what does it for me. And even further than that is when I can touch the life of a dad, and then that trickles down to the child. And now I'm thinking generationally, right? Like the habits that this dad passed down to their kids, hopefully are going to get passed down to their kids and their kids. And now we've got a world that's a much better off place. When I'm struggling to think of it from a bodybuilding standpoint, but give me a little insight. Why did you want to do that?
My why was because in bodybuilding, progress is very measurable.
Mm,
In the off season, you're trying for PRs. You know, you're trying to increase the amount of weight that you're putting on the bar or the machine week in, week out, or you're trying to increase the amount of reps that you're able to do, and
yeah.
in turn, you know, you'll see physical changes, and so that, and then adherence with the diet, it really is input output. What you put in is what you're going to get, and
Mm,
there's levels to it. And so the resilience that taught me, I guess, realizing that I can do hard things, and that showing up and just consistently showing up, just doing the boring things
mm,
every single day, even if it's only at 80%, you know, 80% every day over the course of a week is going to be better than 100% for only 5 days. And then, you know,
yeah.
0% on the other days.
Yeah.
That math doesn't check out, but
No, yeah, the analogy does that.
I realize
Typical police officer. No.
I'm a police officer. We don't, yeah, we don't require that much math.
That's funny. I the like committing to it and seeing it through has a lot of benefits, right? Every time we make a commitment and we check it off, our brain rewires and saying, "Hey, I can do this." Like there's physiological things that are happening from dopamine and serotonin and lowering of course, like all those little things. But it's just like if you think about it, it's just habit formation.
Your
And when
confidence in your
you
increases.
what was it?
Your confidence in your own ability increases. Okay, I
Yeah,
did it yesterday and it was hard. I'm going to do it today. It's going to be a little bit easier.
yeah. Like that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be days where you're like, I don't want to do this. But because you've got this consistency, Brood, and you've built these systems and habits, it's like, hey, it's just another check in the box right here towards my long-term goal. So I love that. Yeah. What oh poop, I had a question. No. I need a like a train sound because this happens a lot on Nathaniel. Gee, the train is left to say. What's the best? Oh yes, here it is. Okay, so we talked a lot about nutrition, and you know, I've told clients and I've told just people through social media and stuff like when you're starting out, you shouldn't even be thinking about supplements. You should be thinking about building that foundation of proper nutrition, good sleep. And I'll caveat like there are certain things where it's like, hey, your stomach isn't working the way it should be. Let's supplement, you know, with some stomach bile booster and things like that. But once you've built that base and you've built that base, do you have any like go-to supplements that is like this is pretty non-negotiable for you at this point?
Yeah, creatine. And
I had a feeling you said
well,
that.
for years,
Yeah.
I took 5 grams, but this year I stepped it up to 10 grams, and I felt the difference, like in
Mm,
recovery, in strength. Um, yeah, creatine, and then also just like if you read any of the research, like the benefits that it can have on the brain, like brain health,
yeah.
creatine has a huge impact on that.
Yeah.
Um, that one, um magnesium glycinate for sleep. Um, yeah, those would be the basics.
Yeah.
Of course, all the general health ones, you know, like omega threes for the heart health.
The magnesium glycinate is not something that I've not a box that I've checked, so to speak, yet. Is that you taking that every single night without fail, or is this a man? I didn't sleep the best last night. Let me make sure.
It's it works best when you take it regularly.
Consistently.
Yeah, it's not something like another sleep supplement be melatonin. That's one that you really want to kind of use sparingly. That one is kind of more on an as needed basis, and the smallest effective dose that you can get away with, because if you're taking that one in larger doses, it can actually mess up your sleep cycle.
Yeah, I've been there. That was a long time ago, but I have been there. Like, oh, hey, you don't sleep very well? Here, have some melatonin. Okay. Yeah, no,
Oh,
no, don't do that.
oh, they got gummy ones.
Yeah, the gummy one. And don't do what I'm about to say either. Too. Well, on the creatine, my scooper is 5 milligrams, and I don't measure. I don't do 10. I'm getting probably somewhere between 7 and 8 because I just do like a really heaping scoop of it. Yeah. Like, it's a little lazy, but it's like, the 5. I think that, and you can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, like 5 milligrams goes to your muscles, and that's what's like being used, and then the excess kind of goes to brain function and brain health. And I mean, I do know there are days when I get poor sleep, and like the next day I'm like, I'm gonna double scoop this one, and wow, it makes a difference. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. I appreciate you being here, man. I have a few questions prepared for you that I've asked everybody on this show. Before we do that, though, what's the best way for people to connect with you, come follow your journey, see all the value that you're dropping? Because I get to see it, and I've been really enjoying it.
Way cool. Appreciate that. It would be on my Instagram page, Precision Physique Lab. So at Precision Physique Lab. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but that's where I'm most active, and that's where most of my new content goes first. And
yeah, I love that.
Anyone could shoot me a DM. I'm an open book for the most part. So
yeah, that's what we try to be. Just like, yes, I want to coach people. I do want to get paid for my service, for doing that. But I want to see as many people win. And so if I can help you out in some way, I feel like I do a lot of that through my content. But let me freaking help out. What is? And we've kind of touched on a couple at this point, but not like a very definitive. What's the biggest life lesson you've learned so far, and how did you learn it?
Love. Love wins all. It's love's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of everything. Life is finite. I lost my brother 7 years ago, my little brother, and he was an empath, and he was full of love. He could look at you and he could see right into your soul, and there's not many people like that. And he knew how to love, and he knew how to love hard. And so after his passing, it definitely shifted my priorities. I just wanted to love my people, and because time is finite, and you don't know how long you have to love them and for them to feel that love.
I feel like we got an answer to the third question that I'm going to ask you there as well. I can pick a couple people out that I've met in my life that are exactly what you're describing there as your younger brother was. Just those people that just are you instantly kind of connect with, that have such presence and can just, like you said, I think you said stare into your soul, but like see you. And man, I appreciate you sharing that. When your time on this earth is done and you're wherever you believe you go, what do you want to be remembered for by the people that you left behind?
I want to be remembered for someone that saw it through, someone that didn't quit. The first 30 years of my life were full of a lot of quitting. It was full of a lot of quitting. I'll be honest. A lot of times when things got hard, that's what I quit. That's when I would quit. And if there was one thing that I could impart to my daughter, it would be to not quit. So what I'm doing now with the coaching and helping people, it's what I'm most passionate about. And I just hope that I can be that kind of pillar of solidarity and that example for people to realize that just don't quit.
Yeah. I'm with you on the quitting thing. It's the battle that I still fight. Like, this is not going the way you wanted it to. Don't give up. If it has meaning to you, don't give up. I'm with you on this with the we're both getting started in the business aspect of the coaching. And
absolutely. Right now it's the hardest part.
Yeah, we got a long way. Like, we got a lot of people that we have to help, Adam. So I'm glad to know you and be in the trenches, so to speak, of this first part of the journey together. If you could have dinner with anybody throughout history, living, dead, who would it be? What would you want to talk about?
Can I say Buddha?
Buddha?
Yeah,
absolutely. You can say who. A couple weeks ago, somebody said Hitler.
No.
Yeah, they were like, their reasoning behind it was, I'm curious to see how he ended up with that thinking of this is okay. And I was like, okay, good. You got lucky.
Okay, we'll let you have it.
Yeah, we'll let you have it. Buddha. Okay, what is anything in particular? Any reason you would want to talk to Buddha?
As a high schooler, I remember reading Siddhartha, and I had a curious teacher that was both my computer science teacher in 6th grade and then my acting teacher in 11th and 12th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was Buddhist. And something that just always stuck out to me was that he said that on his birthdays, he gave his family members presents. Right. So just the giving, and then the aspect of like reducing suffering, are some of the tenets that are taught. And my wife actually grew up like traditionally like Buddhist, not fully practicing, but like her parents from Cambodia. And so I go to the Buddhist temple almost every year for the Cambodian, Thai, and Laotian New Year. And so it's just, I would want to sit down with the origin story, the creator of that belief system, and pick his brain and figure out what I could learn from him.
Yeah, when I started this podcast, geez, 2.5 years ago, those are more of the answers that I was thinking. Like, when I wrote that question, I thought Gandhi, like, this person like that just went through all these things. How are you still so at peace, right? Jesus, Buddha. And some of the answers, like Hitler, have surprised me.
I got to admit.
He asked permission first. Can I say Hitler? I'm like, all right, yeah, you can. You better have a good reason though, because there are people that are not going to be happy with it. I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been a pleasure getting to chat with you. I know we've connected a little bit over just social media and ECA, but getting to sit down and have a longer form conversation is really where it's at. If you would hang out just for a minute so we can make sure the recording goes. It looks like it's probably pretty good, but I will be right back.
All right.
Adam Cook, everybody. That is a person that you want to keep an eye on as he's continuing to learn and grow and develop, as am I, and hopefully as are you. Check out his Instagram there, prestige. Wow, that's a tough one for me to say. Precision Physique Fitness on Instagram. I think if you just type Adam Cook too, you'll find him. He's connected to me too, so if you're following me, you can follow him. That seeing things through and sticking to something, and like he mentioned with the bodybuilding, like doing something difficult and knowing that you can do it, man, it has such power. And when you can keep the commitments that you make to yourself, even small ones, like I'm gonna wake up at 5 and not hitting the snooze button, that has impact over time, and those small ones turn into big ones. So keep the commitments that you make to yourself. I appreciate y'all for being here. Hopefully you made it this far. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel and like the video so we can reach more people. I'll see you guys next week.